It's time for ProAm Predictions.
Hello and welcome back to ProAm Predictions. I am Paul O'Dean representing the amateur side, and of course on the professional side we have Ryan The Hulk Spillane is back in the house. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm great. Looking forward to looking over these fights.
Very good. It's a big card this weekend.
Big one.
265, and the big boys are in action as well. We have heavyweights main event right up your street.
Yeah, right up my street.
So we do look. Obviously, we're going to touch on it, but you're just coming off your pro debut. It didn't go your way over in Holland. But we do have an interview coming up based on that. Yeah.
We'll go over. I'll give the real kind of opinion on what happened in the fight, and kind of go into how I lost and why I lost.
The full story, and that will be exclusive to Guts and Glory MMA as well. So we'll go in depth with that and what's next for the Hulk.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have some news on that one as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, touching on Palahan as well, I suppose we've got to touch on it after last weekend. We haven't got a chance to chat properly. What did you rate of Pa over in Miami this past weekend?
Just thought it was so funny how Pa went in there as, on paper, the absolute underdog going in there. He was fighting experienced pros and undefeated, prospects. And he made them all look like amateurs. He made them all look like Pa. Like, if you go back and look at Pa's amateur record and look at the guys he's fought, those fights were tougher than what he fought there.
100%.
It just shows like having the longer amateur record. It just shows like striking look crisp, jiu-jitsu look crisp.
Yeah,
obviously he got taken down, but he didn't just get taken down and ground and pounded and all that. He got right back up there, an explosive fighter, and he's just an entertaining fighter to watch. Like,
that's
whenever
it.
Pa lay hands on a card, like, you're just like, oh, I'm watching that fight. Like,
100%. And I do think there was a lot of Irish interest in it as well. I know I was talking to Campbell McLaren, and he was very impressed with the amount of interest that was coming out of a guy who's making his pro debut. I do want to touch on just the first fight when he was in the Darce choke, because for 10 seconds when it was initially on, it was on deep. But to show that composure, again, we touch on his 0-0 going into that fight. But like, you look at the wars he had with Amal Piacek and different people throughout the country, they're the top guys in Europe. I'm
actually pretty sure he got caught in a Darce choke against Tyrone Quinn.
Yeah.
He got finished with Darce choke. So like, that kind of just shows that he's gone off. And
the progression.
Darce chokes are actually his thing. Like, now, after being caught in one, he went off, I think he has a jiu-jitsu competition where he has like 4 or 5 Darce chokes, whatever. But he went off now, and he shows that he made improvements to his game once he got caught in something, which shows just why having a lengthy amateur career helps all this. Like,
definitely. And we'll try and organise when he's home. We'll try and organise a show with the two of you on, and we'll do a podcast with me, you, Liam, and the two of you. Should be a good one. But we do need to move on to this week's card. It is a huge one. There's a lot of people shit talking this main event because they're saying it's not a real title fight. I don't buy into it. They're the number 1 and number 2 contender in the world. I don't like the fact that they made an interim title when the champion is still active. There's no point in saying he's not active. He only fought a few months ago. But if he's unwilling to fight, I get it. Book the fight. It doesn't necessarily need an interim title, but don't hate on the fight because they put an interim title fight on it. It's still a phenomenal fight.
An amazing fight. Again, I'm with you. I don't understand why it's an interim belt.
Yeah.
I feel they just gave this now to kind of push Ghani, being like, look, there's an interim belt now, like, you have to fight a bit more now because you have to fight the winner of this. But I think it was going to be the case anyway. Gane was working his way up. Lewis has been crying for that title shot. Lewis was the next title shot. If, let's say,
he should have been for a while.
Yeah, he's been waiting for the shot. He's been fighting the guys, who want, get that shot. Like, so I feel like he's been like that gatekeeper at kind of number 1, like, kind of stopping everyone else from getting a title shot. Big implications, after the fight. Whoever does win the fight, it's a brilliant fight next. Like, both narratives are brilliant for Nagano.
Yeah.
Narrative number 1 is you have former teammate, all that drama in that gym, and he's coming to take it off you and all that.
Yeah.
And then narrative number 2 is just Lewis. That's all you need to say is just Lewis.
But they've been there before.
Yeah.
And I know. Look, it's not a concern of mine. I don't think the fight goes the same way this time because that was one of the worst fights I've ever witnessed.
But I feel it was because it was after when Nagano had lost, and he was still a bit shocked after the loss, and obviously Lewis was a bit scared going in there. Obviously he knew Nagano power, and I think they're both just kind of afraid of each other.
Yeah.
And that made a boring fight. You could also say the same about when when Yo Romero fought Izzy.
Yeah,
they were both very tense of each other because they were both afraid, you know. Yeah. You know this guy's power, you know this guy can knock you out. You're afraid. That's fairly understandable, you know.
Yeah. And that's Derrick Lewis' game plan anyway. He stands and waits. Waits for his opportunity. He's not going engaging if it's a slow fight. So we could expect it from Lewis.
Yeah.
It's what we didn't expect from Ngannou, was the other side of it. But this fight in and of itself, Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane, and I'm going to throw the floor to you here because you sent me something on Facebook yesterday.
So on paper, Gane is a better striker, way better grappling, conditioned, like can go more than 5 rounds easily.
Easily, yeah.
Fight IQ. His fight IQ is absolutely phenomenal. Insane. The changes he can make in between like sequences, beautiful. But I'm still going to say Lewis by TKO.
He's one of those guys that even when he's almost completely outgunned,
he still wins.
He's never outgunned.
He's a better Mark Hunt, like Mark Hunt. Roy Nelson, you know, he's a better version of two of them.
Yeah, so their threat always was the overhand right or the big right hand, and it was like just avoid that and you probably win. But with Derrick Lewis, there's no fucking avoiding it.
You can't, like, if you want to beat him, you have to take him down and you have to make him tired.
Do you think that's Ciryl Gane's game plan going into this?
No. I think he's going to stay on the outside. It's going to be a lot of jabs. Like, he has a beautiful jab. Like, it's very crisp, and we saw it when he fought
Rosenstruck.
Yeah. Was it Rosenstruck or was it Volkov?
Rosenstruck is the one he got an awful lot of shit for because he stood on the outside.
It was the Apex, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's the fight. Yeah. His jab was beautiful in that. It was crisp. I reckon he stays on the outside, he jabs. He's going to make it a boring fight because he can outpoint him, do you know?
Yeah.
But then with that, all Lewis needs to do is get close. Lewis put up an interview being like, all I need to do is touch him and then he gets game over. And that's all he needs to do. And like that's why this fight is so unpredictable. You could not put money in this fight, like, because.
See, I agree, and I said it to you yesterday. I agree with you. It's almost impossible to disagree with the logic, but we've seen Gane do this to Rosenstruck. I reckon he's Derrick Lewis's kryptonite above everyone else because we've seen Gane do it 25 minutes, stay completely composed when. There was always, it looked at stages where, all right, if he goes in a little bit, he'll finish this fight. But you're against a striker who can take you out one punch, and he never did it. And he got shit for that fight because they said it was boring and because he didn't do enough.
It was a good fight. I love that fight.
It was a masterclass. It was a clinic of striking. If he does that against Lewis, I think he picks up a decision victory.
But then, is Rosenstruck the same level, like that same threat as Lewis? No. He's not.
Absolutely not.
It's a whole different comparison, do you know?
Yeah. I know, but look, again, I go back to that there's a small bit to the fact as well that Ciryl Gane hasn't been beaten and he hasn't tasted that. He hasn't got that fear really of Derrick. He'll respect Derrick Lewis's power, but he hasn't got that fear of it. So he's going into this knowing I can stand on the outside and just outpoint this man for 25 minutes and I have the cardio to do it. He's just going to stand there and take punches hoping to land one. I can look very good here. I just have to not get sloppy. And always the question then is, right, well, you make one mistake, you're in trouble.
That's all it is.
But he has shown he can do 25 minutes without making a single mistake.
But that was one fight.
Yeah.
and then this is MMA, like this is like what happens if
it's a title fight.
Yeah. What happens out of nowhere if Lewis just charges him? Do you know, Lewis doesn't really charge people. He more stays on the back foot. What happens if he runs at him and charges him? What are you going to do? I feel if Gane can get him to the floor, it's over.
Yeah.
But then it's getting into the floor is the problem. Like, you can't single leg the man. The man has unbelievable flexibility and like
his takedown defense against the cage is
beautiful, like,
world class.
Like Rosenstruck clearly had his leg above his head and he was just looking at him being like, I'm not going down, you know? Like, but then if he can take him down, it's game over.
Yeah, and the charging thing, like you said, Lewis is also known for throwing like flying knees and wild kicks when he gets a bit bored in a fight.
Just like stupid stuff that just looks funny.
Which he's done against different people that don't have the ground threat that Gane has.
Yeah.
If he does that against Gane, be sure Gane is catching a knee
taking
him down. And then it's, like you say, he's in a whole different world down there, and I think Ghani
I think
butchers him down there.
I think once the cardio comes into a factor, and once we get to like round 2 and round 3, then it becomes a big factor, because like I know Lewis works and all that, like, but he's not a peak athlete, you know.
No.
If you look at Ghani, he's in incredible shape. Like he has that cardio.
It's me versus you. Let's be fair about it.
Yeah.
I'm Derrick Lewis. You're Ciryl Gane.
All you need to do is put hands on me, like, and then
Like,
it's game over.
Realistically, I'm hiding from you for 25 minutes as well, hoping to land a shot.
But that's literally how the fight's going to go, like, and it's just, can he not, like, I know he can with the road truck fight, but like, it's fighting some of that threat, like, maybe he lands 2 or 3 shots and he gets, you know, there's that fight where the body shot landed on Lewis and he kind of goes down and he's like, he comes and swings, you know. There's that kind of shit, like, and then like,
he's the master at luring you into his game plan, 100%.
But then as Lewis, he could just do something random. He could just be on the outside and start talking to him, you know. And he doesn't do that in fights, like, but he could just turn and do that, like, it's Lewis, like, he literally can do whatever he wants, you know. It just can Gane keep just calm and keep the exposure, you know.
Is this the most exciting fight we can possibly book at heavyweight right now?
It's John Jones.
Until the next one, I know. I stop with your John Jones shit. Fuck John Jones. I'm asking, so I know we've talked about Francis versus either one of these is a fantastic fight and the storyline is massive. But I'm saying in absolute edge of your seat, must watch. Is there a better fight right now than this fight in the heavyweight division?
Because like with Nagano, like, you know it's coming, and he obviously he's worked on his takedown defense, but I think when he swings, it's grand, whatever. But it's just something about a big fat boy swinging. It just makes it way more, like, that's why we loved Mark Hunt. That's why we loved Ryan
Tied to Avasa, the new age.
That's why we love that fight. We love watching a man who looks like he's coming out of a chip shop. Swinging and knocking out prime athletes, you know. I just something about that, like, it's primal, like, you know. I feel like this is a way better fight than any fight you could book with Nagano, you know. If it was Nagano again, that's grand, whatever. Narrative is brilliant, you know. But it's Lewis, and it's just a better fight.
The thing with Ngannou and Ghani, they look like just
athletes,
phenoms and freaks. And yes, either one could put either or to sleep. But fully. I feel like that's not the fight we'll get if they meet. Whereas this one, unless, and look, I talked about Ghani possibly taking him down. It's like against the cage, it's almost impossible. We know that.
And then if you shoot for double leg, it'd be like Curtis,
uppercut,
like, done.
He's waiting for it. So I feel like we're going to get a fight here where we are on the edge of our seats. It's the Rosenstruck fight again, but with deathly implications.
Because with the Curtis fight, you were kind of like, the winner might fight for title, but you know for a fact the winner of this gets the interim belt and then looks to unify it. Do you know?
And they get pay-per-view points. It makes the heavyweight title fight a bigger fight when it does come around. Here's my question, though. You talked about it. Jones is supposedly in talks to fight Stipe. Does the winner of that fight, if it happens this year, jump the queue?
But what queue is there?
I mean, but that's my point. This is why I can't understand the interim title fight right now, because the UFC said to John Jones, "You're next in line." He skipped Lewis, even though he had no credentials for skipping Lewis at heavyweight. Yes, he's one of the greatest of all time, with an asterisk, but skipping Lewis was already an insult. Are they going to do that to him again if he beats Stipe?
No. So I feel what happens is, winner of this fight, let's say Lewis wins, because Lewis is going to win. It's going to be third round TKO. Lewis wins, fights Nagano. Whatever happens there, then let's say that fight could be December, could be November, it could be January, you know. But I feel like it's going to be soon enough, you know. That fight happens. Let's say Stipe and Jones happens around the same time, October, whatever. I feel the winner of the Stipe and Jones fight will fight whoever's current champion then. Because if you look at number 3 down, none of them are contenders. None of them are showing that they want the belt.
But they're not ready yet, and they're not at the level of these 4 or 5 guys.
So I feel definitely winner of those fights will fight each other eventually. I feel that Stipe and Jones will be the next title contender shot. You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel obviously Stipe deserves a rematch.
Yeah, he should have got that out the gate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So if Stipe beats Jones, then he deserves it, gets it, you know? You can't, like, the heavyweight division is a bit of a shambles right now, but it's the most exciting division right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of the bantamweight division
fair
amount
enough,
of contenders. But if you look at the stakes that are there at the very high end of that division at heavyweight, there's nothing like it.
And there's more drama, there's more narrative there, look.
Yeah, so look, my prediction, I know you've said KO third round.
Yeah, absolutely.
My prediction here is Gane goes out and puts on a clinic for 25 minutes.
Decision, unanimous.
This is the thing, though. I think at some point Lewis does connect. I don't think it's flush, but I think we get that shit moment.
Panic, yeah.
And we're going to see what Gane is made of.
Yeah.
I do believe that happens in this fight.
Yeah.
But like you said, that could be in the third round, it could be in the fourth round. But I think Gane comes through it. I think Gane is cute enough to, look, if it's a shot that it's a one-hitter quitter, he's going to sleep, and that's what Lewis does.
Yeah.
But I think he gets rocked in this fight, and we're going to see what he's made of.
Yeah.
Could go either way after that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I think Gane is good enough to pull out a decision victory here. I don't see him finishing Lewis, though. He's too dangerous.
No. On paper, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But paper goes the window when Lewis fights.
Yeah, when he starts swinging a right hand.
Yeah.
For sure. We are going to move on to the co-main event of the evening, and I absolutely love this fight as well. You have Jose Aldo versus Pedro Muniz. And I want to touch on the fact that at bantamweight right now, and I touched on it, bantamweight division is on fire.
Yeah.
And any one of the top 15, 20, almost 25 to 30 could be a champion or future champion or in a very short space of time. But everyone is calling for either the Dominic Cruz fight or the Jose Aldo fight because they're the two big names in the division. Pedro Muniz has competed against Dominic Cruz, hasn't he?
A loss, I think.
As far as I know, he
his
has.
career, I want to say.
No, sorry, he got the Frankie Edgar fight.
Yeah,
that's
lost
one
Frankie Edgar.
So Frankie Edgar is the other one of the three. Yes. So
I wouldn't say Frankie Edgar's on the same level as, let's say, if you were calling for a Jose Aldo or
a Dominic Cruz, but
Frankie's on the way out.
But there's a lot of guys still calling for him for the name value that he has.
Yeah.
And he slipped up at that fight and he lost that fight. He's getting another opportunity here. Not many people are going to get the opportunities that Pedro Muniz has. He had a phenomenal fight against Jimmy Rivera, one of my favourite fights of this year so far.
After losing to him as well, redeeming that loss.
Yeah, and it's probably the biggest fight of his career. If he wins this one, do you think how close is he to a title shot?
Maybe a fight away from it.
Yeah.
But then it depends on who he fights next. It all depends on who his next opponent is, you know? I don't think he's ready for a title shot, though. I don't think he's ready.
Pedro?
No, I don't think so.
Fuck, I don't know. I think he's right there. I think there's, like I said, there's so many guys, but I think there's 5 or 6 that are right there.
Yeah.
No.
He's one.
You've TJ's all of a sudden back in the mix, which absolutely irks me and pains me.
Oh, stop.
He should have had to start at 15 again and work back up.
Absolutely.
But I think Pedro has a loss to Aljamain, doesn't he? But I think he beats him now. And I think Jan, like, Pedro's a tough fight for Jan. Jan is one of the best in the world, don't get me wrong.
No, Jan.
Pedro's an animal.
Jan gets close to him, starts wrestling him, starts taking apart, and then if you look at the striking elements of it, Jan's boxing is incredible. Jan's
boxing is on a different level to Pedro's, but Pedro's toughness, that fight against Jimmy Rivera, and in every exchange, he just showed absolute heart and got the victory.
Yeah, I just think Jan is on another level to everyone else.
Yeah, look, it's hard to disagree, but I do think a win here puts Pedro right there.
Definitely. Whether that be one more fight or he gets straight off, definitely.
Yeah. The other side of that, Jose Aldo. Yeah. I mean, Jose Aldo, I have his record pulled up here. He has the win over Vera, which was a unanimous decision, which for me was a lot closer than it was made out to be. I do think Aldo won the fight, but I think it was a very, very, very close decision. And you look before that, yes, he's fought absolute killers, but his record isn't great. What does a loss here? Look, we'll talk about a win for Aldo after, but what does a loss do for Aldo here?
I think he's on the chopping board. I think a loss. I think a loss here, maybe one loss afterwards, get them custom UFC.
Yeah.
And we can see it, like Dana isn't
the guys that are paid huge bucks. Anthony Pettis,
but Dana isn't looking after his, like, let's say his the long time guys. You know, he's getting rid of them like easily. Like look at the two heavyweights, JDS and
Overeem.
Cut straight up. You know?
Yeah. A few losses in a row.
Yeah.
And JDS like that, a former champion, so that it's not. And Pettis was a former champion.
You're just looking like I
think Pettis chose to leave though, so I could be wrong.
Nico Montoya.
Montana,
yeah, she got
cut, but
former
then
champion.
again, 1 minute now.
Yeah.
Nico Montano, former champion.
Yeah,
I mean, anybody could have been a former champion of that division when
True.
they started.
But like, it's just looking like that. Dana has no,
loyalty to the former belt holders.
There's no love lost when he's getting rid of those guys. I think these fights are very important for him. I think this fight definitely, if he wins here, it just gets him a more of a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
It gets more bargaining power from this.
Yeah.
I think he loses. I think it's a very scary time to be him.
And this is it. If he does stick around in this division in its current state, I mean, no matter how far down the rankings he drops, because look, he's still ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
No matter who he's going to be fighting next, is an absolute killer.
Yeah.
And who he's fighting after that is going to be a killer. I think Aldo, this is a favourable enough matchup for him in that Pedro Muniz, while he's a killer, he isn't one of the young guns that's going to go out there and try and take his fucking head off in the first 2-3 minutes of this fight. But I just think this is the start of the end for Jose Aldo.
I think we've already seen the end. I think we had peak Aldo.
Yeah,
was just before Conor. He had reached his peak, and then Conor stopped him, and then we saw the decline of Jose Aldo.
Yeah, it's true.
He's strung together a few nice wins there, here and there,
and even looked great at the start of that Marlon Vera fight.
But it's still not what we had, Joe, at WEC.
But Prime Aldo was
killer,
just vicious.
But we don't have that. He doesn't have that in him anymore. I think definitely. I think like we're saying, stylistically, this match is a beautiful. It's going to be a striking battle, you know. But I think Muniz wins.
Yeah, and look, he's 1-2.
Yeah,
at bantamweight, and I know a lot of people say he won the Moraes fight, and even the promotion came out and more or less gave him credit for winning the Moraes fight. It didn't affect his ranking in the division and all of this. When that happened, the only other losses to the champion, I say the champion, he's really the champion, Peter Yan.
Yeah,
but
he's the champion.
But I still don't think the move to 35 was a good move for Aldo. I think he could have hung around and maybe even competed again for that 45 title, but
then when we talk about 145, and they're killers up there as well.
I don't think it has the depth though. I think there's far more favourable matchups for Aldo.
You look at 6-7 there, you have Giga and stuff and they're just killers. I was talking about this with Larkin, being AJ McKee, does he step straight into a title shot, or does he have the Chandler step? Mm-hmm. He steps into any of those fights and they're tough fights.
Yeah.
There's no easy fights there.
100%.
Brian Ortega, you have fucking Max Holloway,
Volk,
Giga,
Korean Zombie.
Yeah, there's killers there.
Yeah, I know, but
and Aldo is the same. Aldo, I don't think Aldo could compete with any of those guys.
Aldo's beaten a lot of those guys, with the exception of Volk and Holloway.
Yeah. But
he's beaten most of those guys
when he was in his prime.
That's exactly when he was in his prime, before it all started to kind of unravel a little bit.
Yeah,
I hope it's not the end for Aldo. Look, as much as I think Pedro comes out with a victory here, I don't know. Aldo got a raw deal, because after that Conor knockout, he lost. He was hated for some reason, and he just got a raw deal. If we remember the Aldo just before that, he was an absolute legend of the sport.
I think it was because of the Irish fans. I think it was because he lost.
Yeah. They gave him so much shit.
Yeah.
So much shit.
That ruined him.
Yeah. Look, it's a tough one, but I would say Pedro Muniz wins by decision.
I'm going to say a KO. I'm going to say a KO. He puts him out.
Ooh.
Larkin.
You're really putting a nail in the coffin there for poor old Jose.
Larkin had a really random one, but I think it could happen. Finished by leg kicks.
Aldo gets finished by leg kicks.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's out there, but yeah.
Listen, if Aldo gets finished by leg kicks, I will mourn him right after that fight. Because
game over.
That just mentally for him, that'll be game over, because that was his game.
Yeah.
Up until 6 years ago, that was his game, and he owned that game.
Imagine Muniz banging them in low calf kicks, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and we've seen Aldo. Aldo hasn't really transitioned to the low leg kick yet.
Hasn't.
And didn't even go to the well with him enough in his last fight against... I only had it up 2 minutes ago, I can't remember. But he didn't go to the well with him enough against his last opponent.
Yeah.
When the opportunity, Marlon Vera, when the opportunities were there. I think he didn't want to trade them, which could be pointing to what you're saying. Yeah. Could be true, we're both siding with Muniz in that one. The next one is an absolutely phenomenal fight at welterweight. Michael Queza versus Vicente Luque. Both, look, Michael Queza, we know his game. He's moved up to welterweight, 4 wins in a row. We know he's going to try and backpack you and choke you out. That's his go-to. There's a lot more to his game, don't get me wrong.
Good striker.
But everywhere else, I think Vicente has him outgunned.
Yeah.
Vicente is a beast wrestler. He's a beast with his hands. He's lethal kicks. I think Queza has a one-shot hope here. But he snatches his neck.
But I think he's so good at that one shot that he gets it.
You picking Queza here?
I am. I think he's a stud, and I like him.
He is definitely, yeah.
I just like his personality. I think he's a cool fighter, and I think he has enough to get up that back and take a choke.
Well, look, the one thing I won't argue is if he gets a sniff, you're
game
done.
Over.
It's 100% game over. There's very few. Kevin Lee will obviously argue that he's better in that world than Queza, but we all know, look, that was a touch of a fluke there, Kevin. But I just think Vicente... Vicente is one of the most underrated fighters in the welterweight division.
Way better everywhere else. Yeah. But it's just that one thing he's very good at, you know?
Yeah, and... I know. You are right.
Yeah.
But Vicente, we look at his last 3 opponents there, Tyron Woodley, Randy Brown, Nico Price.
Great opponents.
Great opponents. But Queza's 4 wins in a row have arguably even better opponents.
Yeah.
But it's just a case of Queza's new enough still to this division. He's big up there.
Yeah.
But for me, Vicente is the first real, naturally big welterweight that he's going to be fighting. Queza's going to have the reach. He's going to be taller than him.
Would you not say Woodley was there up there, no?
Woodley, to be fair, he's a chunky guy.
Yeah.
But he's the height of a lightweight. He's the height of a featherweight.
Yeah, he is small.
Which for Vicente Luque and his kicking game and punching game on the outside suited him perfectly.
Yeah.
Queza is the first guy that's going to be big, tall guy for him, but it's a perfect opponent in the sense that he doesn't have the striking skills that Vicente Luque has. I think this is both of their biggest threats to this point, but I think Luque picks up a victory, and I think he picks up a TKO or KO victory.
I think so, yeah.
Relatively early in this. I could see first round, second round.
I'm going to go complete opposite. I'm going to say Queza by submission.
Are you calling the round there?
I think
it could be anywhere though. That's the thing.
But it has to. I think it has to be round more too. I feel if it goes around 3, I think it'll just be a decision then to Luque.
Vicente do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's a great fight though.
Exciting fight. Very exciting fight.
And the card, look, the prelims aren't exactly fantastic on this card, but
those
the main card
cards
is very strong.
Those are the cards that you always sleep on, and they're amazing. You know,
that's true as well.
Styles makes fights
Answer me a question. So you're picking Queza in this. He's ranked number 6 at the moment, and we know Woodley, Jesus Christ, blast from the past. We know that Usman is crying out for contenders in this division. We know Colby is up next. We know that Stephen Thompson should be in the reckoning, but isn't. Does the winner of this get a shot?
Winner of this fight's Thompson, I think.
Oof, again, nightmare fight for either, but
yeah, but I think that's the way it goes because it's a fucked up division,
because you look at what's above these two guys right now,
and
most of them, with the exception of Stephen Thompson, has fought Usman and lost. So a win here, they could skip the queue. But it depends on whether Usman's going to pick them or not. That's essentially there.
I think Usman picks them because I think he doesn't want to fight the same guys over and over again. He's not. He's not going to fight. He's not going to fight Masvidal again.
Yeah.
He wrecked Masvidal.
Yeah.
Not going to fight Burns again. He beat Burns well. Might pick Burns because he knows it was a good fight, you know. But I don't see him picking Burns.
It's a tough sell for the Burns fight right now. It does.
Which it just made it so disheartening. Burns beating Woodley.
Burns beating Thompson.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
We both threw Woodley in there. Beating Thompson because Thompson would have been the better fight, you know.
Yeah.
And it fucks up Thompson now because he can't skip the queue to fight a champion once you lose to
Burns,
you know.
He needs one more.
Yeah, he does.
And the one name, of course, we're leaving out, that everyone leaves out, that everyone forgets about, and never gets mentioned when it's talking about title shots, is Leon Edwards.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But maybe I'm on my own in the world here, but I still don't think Leon's done enough.
No, definitely not enough. Definitely inactivity, like.
Inactivity, not fighting, until very, very recently, not fighting the upper echelon guys. I think Leon needs a big win in that top 5.
So,
perhaps the winner of this.
Yeah, throw winner of this against Woodley. Or, fucking, what's wrong with Woodley in my brain today?
This show has been sponsored by Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. But throw winner of this against Edwards.
Yeah.
It's a nice fight as well, either one of these guys against Leon, like.
Yeah. Look, again, a favourable matchup for Leon, though.
Do you think so?
I think so. I think both these guys, again, Queza has the backpack, and that's his one trick in that fight.
Let's say whoever wins this fight, Edwards fights them, wins. Does Edwards get a title shot?
After beating one of these guys, 100%. And I know he has beaten Vicente Luque before, but it's a long time ago.
Does Edwards beat Usman?
Edwards, no.
No?
No. I think look, Edwards is fantastic, but I think Usman is better than him everywhere. He gives him a tough fight, though. I'll tell you that much, because he's not going to go away easily.
So who's the kryptonite in that division to beat Usman?
Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
Stephen Thompson. Or Mr. Hamzat Chimaev.
Play it.
No, that's Liam's button. I couldn't be playing Barry White on my own.
I knew it was coming.
We do need to move on to the second fight on the main card. You have, this one's a bit, it's a bit of a filler fight.
Yeah.
You have Tisha Torres versus Angela Hill. And the only reason I say it's a bit of a filler fight, look, Angela Hill has, with the exception of the 2 losses she's had before this, she has been on a bit of a run. And she's a much improved fighter from her first stint or 2 stints in the UFC. She's coming off the win to Yoder, off the back of 2 losses that, let's be fair, they're the 2 of the top in the division.
Yeah.
She's going in now against Tisha Torres, who's, listen, Tisha's been lucky. Tisha's lucky to still be there. She had 4 losses in a row. She's coming off a win, but those 4 losses, I think she can count herself lucky that she kept her UFC card after those 4 losses. And again, Zhang, Jacek, was it Namajunas and Marina Rodriguez, or was it Andrade and Marina Rodriguez? And she's actually off 2 wins in a row. I forgot about the Sam Hughes win. It's kind of a fight where both girls are in and around that top 15.
Yeah.
But I can't see either ever competing against the top 5.
No. They're just fighting to fight now. Like they're not fighting to get a title.
And for me, that doesn't qualify as a main card fight.
No,
maybe it's just me.
I think it's just because they're star value. Really, they're both big enough names. Like,
and Angela Hill for sure is actually quite a big draw.
I absolutely love Angela Hill. I think she's an absolute stud. I think she's a big nerd as well. Like, so I associate with that. But I just think Tisha has more skills.
Definitely in the grappling. 100% I'll give you the grappling. But I think Angela Hill's striking's that's coming on leaps and bounds.
It has.
But
altogether, I think Tisha's striking plays into everything else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I see Tisha winning by decision.
That's exactly. I see her winning by decision as well, but I see her playing a grappling heavy game because Angela, I'd say Angela has a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage on her as well.
Yeah, very tall.
So look, it's a tricky fight for both.
Tisha's very small and stocky, like a Chad Mendes shape, like.
But I think a loss here for Tisha, and
I think a loss for either one of them.
It could be curtains.
Yeah, I think it's game over in the fight career. I think.
Yeah. I mean, they could move to a different promotion. They could do whatever.
But I don't see it happen. I see if either one of these loses, I think it's retirement.
Yeah, they're both quite close to that anyway.
Yeah. Definitely.
Opening fight on the main card. We will touch on it before we leave you go. We have another fantastic bantamweight matchup: Song Yadong versus Casey Kenny. Casey Kenny, of course, one of the Dana White Contender Series alum. And I actually, weirdly, I'm kind of going back on the Contender Series because I forgot how many fighters came out of Contender Series that are just household names now.
Yeah.
And that are ranked fighters now. There is so many. And I forgot, like, the first couple of seasons, you wouldn't think these are guys that came for the Contender Series because they're up there and they're thereabouts now. Casey Kenny was one of those guys who fought on the first season, picked up a win but was too young to be signed kind of way.
Yeah, I actually remember that. Yeah.
And came back and lost on the Contender Series.
Who did he lose to?
Can't think of the guy's name, but he went on a 4-fight win streak in LFA, and he's been thrown to the wolves since he's been signed to the UFC, and he's done phenomenally.
Yeah.
This kid, I think he's one of the real deal guys hanging around there at bantamweight. Obviously, the loss to Dwalishvili, everybody loses to Dwalishvili because he's a fucking beast. The loss to Cruz, again, for me, it was a split decision. For me, I had Casey edging that one just. And, like, you look at who he fought. He fought Ray Borg in his debut, Manny Bermudez, then Dwalishvili, Smolka, Alateng, Nathaniel Wood, and Dominic Cruz since signing.
Like, yeah.
That's a fucking killer's row.
Yeah.
And I know there's no easy fight at bantamweight.
No, but still, like, you could get a few easy ones in there.
He didn't get any guys that were outside the top 30.
No.
And they definitely have 30, 40. It was Adam Antolin he lost to. That was right, and that was at featherweight, which was a strange move for him to take a fight at featherweight. But look, I love Casey Kenny. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
This is a very tough fight. But I think he does get it done against Song Yadong. He just needs to stay away from Song Yadong's power. We've seen Yadong put guys into the shadow realm and knock people dead. He has legit striking, but I don't think his all-around game is as good as Kenny's.
I'd absolutely agree with you. I think it's Casey by decision.
Yeah. And of course, Yadong is coming off the loss to Kyler Phillips. And similar to Casey, he's got that. He's 100% everywhere and going full speed.
Jack of all trades kind of fighter, like.
100%. But again, I mean, we look at Song Yadong. He's
all he needs to put the hands.
Yeah, and he's had something like he's a draw with Cody Stamen, win over Vera, win over Alejandro Perez.
Yeah, great names there as well. Like
that fucking that bantamweight division is
stacked,
insane, absolutely
scary.
Insane. Like these guys, you put them in any other division, and you're talking about them like they're legit contenders, and they are. But they could be 6 fights away.
Yeah, these are nobodies in the bantamweight division. Like,
it's a frightening division. Yeah. It's phenomenal card. Hopefully we get some knockouts on it because, like you were saying in the main event, you want the knockout in the main event. To be fair, just from the main event, do I want to see Ngannou fight Gane or Lewis? I want to see the Gane fight because it's fresh, it's new.
Yeah,
there's that background of the
stylistically it makes a good fight.
It's a very interesting fight.
Yeah.
We've kind of seen the Lewis one.
Yeah,
and I just have this fucking fear of it going the same way as the first one.
Yeah.
But as we say, you can be completely outgunned. If your name is Derrick Lewis, you're still probably going to win. And we will leave it at that. We will
do bets now.
Oh, bets of the week. I didn't even fucking think about my bet of the week.
That's where you're the amateur and I'm pro.
There you go. You heard it here. I didn't even think about a bet of the week, but I'm going to throw one up. And it's relatively easy for me. I have Vicente Luque, I have Casey Kenny, and I have Ciryl Ghani.
I'm gonna go method of victory. I'm gonna go Lewis by KO. I'm gonna go Muniz by KO. And I'm gonna go Queza by submission.
You're gonna get 100 to 1 on that minimum. Easily 100 to 1 on that. So if you want to lose some money,
I haven't won a bet yet, but look, this week could be the weekend.
To be fair, you're putting out bets.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you've given a couple of scare as well.
Yeah.
You have given a couple of scare.
I have.
And since Brian Moore, you took over the reins from Brian, the picks have got better on both sides. So maybe Brian was my kryptonite and his own.
And then if we back
throwing the pike man some shit for no reason. After a great weekend last weekend. We are going to leave it there. We will have our main podcast, which will be on Sunday night, and we will be back again in here next week for ProAm Predictions.
Who's next week? Who's next week?
There's actually no UFC card next week, but I think there's Bellator next week. 2 weeks.
Oh, I think it could be the females.
Yeah. That's what's on next week. So we do have a big Bellator card next week. So we'll be doing a ProAm Predictions for that. And
PFL's coming back up.
That's August 10th, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which?
Week after.
The week after. No, it's next week.
No, it's next week, yeah.
Next week as well. So we've PFL and Bellator. There you go. We will have all that next week, and we will have some other content coming out. And be sure to go over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the like for this video, and follow us on Facebook at the MMA Opinion. Thank you very much.